Ever wondered if there's a handgun you could pick up today, shoot for the next 50 years, and then hand off to your grandkids without a second thought? Not some flavor-of-the-month plastic wonder, but something forged in steel, shaped by real engineering, and proven on ranges, in jungles, and across generations. That's what we're digging into right now. 7 pistols that aren't just tools, they're time capsules. We'll walk through the specs that matter, the beatings they've survived, the upsides, the trade-offs, and what they actually cost in 2025. Stick around, because by the end you'll know exactly which one earns the buy it once, cry once badge. Kicking off the countdown at number 7, we've got the legendary CZ75B, the gun most people just call the CZ75. This masterpiece came from a mind of Czech engineer František Kauky back in the Iron Curtain days, when it was never meant to be sold inside Czechoslovakia because of communist rules. But the second it started sneaking out west through exports, it blew everybody's minds. No official American co-branding at launch, yet the design basically fathered an entire family tree. Today's Tanfoglio Witness, Canik TP9, Springfield P9, and a dozen others are all straight-up descendants owing their bloodline to this OG. It's still the darling of hardcore IPSC and USPSA racers, police armorers who actually shoot for score, and collectors who want vintage European soul in a pistol that can pull duty 24/7. Size-wise, the CZ75B is that sweet spot between full-size authority and real-world carry comfort. It stretches 8.1 inches nose to tail, rocks a 4.6-inch cold hammer forged barrel that punches way above its weight in the accuracy department, stands 5.4 inches tall with a mag base plate, and keeps the waistline to a svelte 1.4 inches thanks to that famous slide rides inside the frame trick, and tips the scales at a solid 2.2 pounds empty, heavy enough to soak up 9mm snap like a sponge, but still light enough you won't hate life after 500 rounds. That super low bore axis comes from machining the rails inside the frame instead of on top like Browning did, so muzzle flip is almost non-existent and you get back on target stupid fast. The real party pieces start with those internal rails that not only drop the barrel lower, but shield the slide from crud and sand way better than traditional setups. It's built entirely from steel, forged frame, forged slide, wearing a tough-as-nails black polycoat finish, though you can grab nitride or full stainless versions these days. Classic B models keep the pure manual safety with a firing pin block for drop safety, but still serve up that glorious 4.5-pound single-action trigger that breaks like glass. Out of the box, you get fixed 3-dot sights, but the dovetails, swallow night sights, or fiber optics without a fight. The grip curves perfectly into your palm. Front and back straps are checkered. Interchangeable back straps let you dial the fit, and a long beaver tail keeps the web of your hand safe when you're hammering rounds. Purists love that the original 75B stays clean with no rail, though the SP01 crowd gets their Picatinny fix later. Walking into 2025, you're looking at $650 to $750 on the street, depending on finish and which importer brought it in, hundreds less than a SIG P226 or Beretta 92 FS, while matching or beating them in accuracy and service life. Hand-fitted parts, forged cold hammer barrel, and that famous Czech reliability normally cost double, but CZ drops it at blue-collar prices. They're flying off shelves hardest in competition meccas like Phoenix, Arizona, Dallas, Texas, and Vegas, Nevada, where USPSA squads and training houses can't keep them in stock, and online shops in free states like Florida and Georgia stay back-ordered on stainless and compact models year-round. Of course, nothing's perfect. The 2+ pound heft makes appendix carry a chore next to sub 30-ounce plastics. That double action pull stacks up to 10 to 12 pounds and takes real work to run smooth from a holster. Mag release and slide stop are pure righty territory, so lefties usually go aftermarket. Older mags sometimes stick instead of dropping free until you polish the followers or hit them with a stone. And because it's all steel, you'll be wiping it down more religiously than a polymer gun, if you live where the air is basically soup. Still, for the money, the CZ75B is an absolute steal of an heirloom. Coming in hot at number 6 is the absolute tank of the revolver world. The Ruger GP100, the wheel gun that laughs at abuse and just keeps spinning. Launched back in 1985 by Sturm, Ruger and Company right here in the USA, This beast grew out of the already tough Security 6 line, leaning on decades of pure American know-how with zero big-name outside partnerships needed. It was built for serious folks. Competition wheelgun racers, backcountry hunters, hardcore woodsmen, and anyone who wants a sidearm that can eat full house .357 Magnum all day and still ask for seconds. Cops love it as a bulletproof backup, and adventurers trust it when the cell service dies. Size-wise, the standard GP100 hits that perfect middle ground between packable and authoritative. Overall length runs 9.5 inches with the fan-favorite 4.2-inch barrel that's ideal for holster work and fast swings. The cylinder is a tight 1.55 inches wide. Height climbs to 5.75 inches thanks to those cushy hoe rubber grips. And it weighs a confidence-inspiring 40 ounces empty. Plenty of mass to soak up Magnum kick, but still nimble enough for hours on the range without your wrist filing for divorce. It's primarily a .357 Magnum monster that happily swallows cheaper .38 special for practice, holding 6-round standard or 7 in the plus models, with a 120 twist rate and a full underlug barrel that keeps everything rock steady when you're dumping rounds fast. What makes the GP100 basically indestructible is stuff like the patented triple locking cylinder that locks up front, rear, and bottom, way stronger than old-school two-point designs, plus the one-piece stainless frame with no side plate. So there's almost zero flex even after thousands of nuclear .357 loads. Throw in the transfer bar safety that meets every modern drop test rule without cluttering the hammer. Investment cast stainless steel that shrugs off rust and salt water. Adjustable rear sight with a ramped front blade good to 50 yards and beyond. Interchangeable grip panels, top strap scope cuts, and easy aftermarket speed loader support. And you've got a revolver that's ready for anything. MSRP sits right around $1,000 for most models, but real-world new prices in 2025 are averaging $836, and clean used ones go for about $536. Still a screaming deal when the Smith Wesson 686 is usually $150 to $200 cheaper, yet doesn't give you the same bomb-proof frame or the dead simple 3-screw takedown that lets you detail strip it in the field with basically a pocket knife. They're moving like crazy in places like Houston's mega gun stores, Phoenix's desert outdoor shops, and Denver's revolver-heavy IDPA crowd where hunters and competitors and ranch hands keep grabbing them. Of course, it's not perfect. That 40-ounce brick is awesome on the firing line, but turns into a boat anchor after a full day on your hip. Especially when it's 100 degrees out, the all-steel build means you're committed to a real holster instead of some flimsy clip-on. The double-action pole is a consistent 10 pounds or so, but has that classic Ruger stack that feels grittier than a tuned Smith until you throw some money at a Wolf spring kit. Speed loaders can be picky because Ruger does its own thing. And even with the full lug, the .357 still kicks hard enough to remind smaller shooters who's boss. Bottom line, if you want a revolver that you can literally beat on for 50 years and hand to your kids still running like new, the GP100 is that gun. Sliding into the number 5 slot is the pistol that basically armed an entire generation of American troops. The Beretta 92 FS, the civilian twin of the legendary M9. Born in 1976 out of Italy's 500-year-old Beretta dynasty, it started life as an upgrade to the original Model 92, got battle-hardened with the Italian military, and then absolutely dominated the brutal 1985 U.S. military trials to snag that sweet Department of Defense contract. Built for cops, soldiers, serious home defenders, and regular shooters who care more about never failing than shaving ounces, the 92 FS is still the gold standard for what a full-size duty pistol should be. Dimensionally, it's a big boy done right. 8.5 inches overall, a long 4.9-inch barrel that give you a monster sight radius and stupid good accuracy. Slide with the trim 1.5 inches, total height 5.4 inches with a mag in, and an unloaded weight of 33.3 ounces, heavy enough to flatten 9mm recoil, but light enough to ride a duty rig all shift without killing your back. It rocks the classic double-action/single action setup with a long but smooth first pull that flips to a glassy 5-pound single action afterward, and feeds from 15-round staggered column magazines for a full 16 plus 1 capacity. What makes it iconic is stuff like that open top slide that sheds sand, mud, and crap like water off a duck, Proven everywhere from Iraqi deserts to Navy ship decks, plus the alloy frame wears tough anodizing. The steel slide gets that matte Brenetton coating that laughs at rust, reversible mag release, standard 3-dot sights that swap easy for tritium, and newer M9A1 style models even throw in a factory rail. The refined Walther-style falling block lockup keeps everything tight and accurate for decades. In 2025, you'll find standard 92 FS models carrying an MSRP around $700. But real street prices sit between $650 and $720 depending on finish and how many mags come in the box. 100 cheaper than most polymer Wonder 9s while giving you all-metal build quality and a trigger that smokes guns costing twice as much. It's still a top 5 seller in Texas, Florida, Arizona, California, and Pennsylvania, moving truckloads through big box stores and online dealers alike. Nothing is perfect though. The grip feels like a 2x4 to smaller hands until you swap panels. At over 2 pounds loaded, it gets old fast for all-day carry compared to featherweight strikers. Muzzle flip can get spicy with hot plus P loads. That double action pull is a solid 10 plus pounds and takes real reps to run smooth. And yeah, the very first gen slides had that rare crack issue back in the day. But Beretta fixed it forever ago with beefier slides and the slide-mounted safety/decocker upgrade. Bottom line, if you want a proven, gorgeous, metal-framed 9mm that served a million GIs and still runs like the day it left the factory, the 92 FS is impossible to ignore. Number 4. The SIG Sauer P226 is straight-up legendary in the handgun world. Most folks just call it the P226, while Navy SEALs and other tier 1 units know it as the battle-proven 25 Malawian Quatches. This beast was born in 1984 when Swiss engineering brains and German manufacturing muscle teamed up under the SIG Sauer flag to take on the U.S. military's brutal XM9 trials, building directly off the already stellar P220 platform to create what many still consider the gold standard for do-or-die reliability. Built from the ground up for serious operators, cops on the street, top-tier competitors, and hardcore civilians who refuse to trust their life to anything less than perfection. The P226 has long outgrown its military roots and become the go-to-duty gun on every continent. Right out of the gate, you feel the perfect balance. 7.7 inches overall, sporting a 4.4-inch barrel that give you plenty of velocity and a long sight radius without turning the gun into a boat anchor. It stands about 5.5 inches tall, measures a trim 1.5 inches across the slide, and tips the scales at 34 ounces empty, heavy enough to soak up recoil like a champ, yet still totally doable for hours on the range or a full shift on the hip. Standard chambering is 9mm parabellum, but it's also factory available in .40 S&W and the spicy .357 SIG, feeding from 15-round magazines flush fit for a total of 16 on board and plenty more where that came from. The magic really starts with that slick double-action/single action trigger paired with an ambidextrous decocker that lets you carry hammer down safe and still get a first shot hit in a heartbeat, all while staying 100% drop safe and passing every torture test the government could dream up. Super low bore axis keeps the muzzle flat for lightning fast splits. The proven short recoil system runs dirty or clean, sand or snow, and the alloy frame wrapped with a nitron-coated stainless slide laughs at rust, salt water, and blistering heat. You get a full Picatinny rail for lights, lasers, or whatever gadget you want, plus grippy G10 panels that can be swapped or textured to your exact liking without ever messing with the factory tune perfection. On the street in 2025, a base P226 starts right around a grand MSRP, while Legion or X6 level builds push past $1,300, $1,400, putting it head-to-head with the Beretta 92 FS and CZ 75 SP. 01, but packing better ergos, a rail from the factory, and longevity that embarrasses most Safe Queen customs. For the money, you're getting features that normally cost $2 or $3 extra, yet somehow still cheaper than a lot of boutique 2011s, and it will absolutely bury any bargain basement polymer gun in the durability department. Look at the numbers, and it's still crushing sales on Gun Broker and every major retailer, moving stupid fast in big cities like NYC, LA, Houston, and Chicago, where SWAT guys executive protection teams, and hardcore range rats spread the gospel of SIG reliability the old-fashioned way, by never having a single malfunction. Of course, nothing is perfect, and the P226 has its honest downsides. That 34-ounce all-metal build is awesome for taming recoil, but it'll wear you out if your appendix carrying 12 hours a day or running 1,000 rounds in a single class, especially next to featherweight strikers. The price, while totally justified, still stings when you can grab something that holds the same number of rounds for half the cash. And the aftermarket isn't quite as plug-and-play, wide open as a P320 or a Glock. Throw it in .357 SIG, and it'll punish new shooters if they don't respect it. And after a decade of hard holster time, that gorgeous nitron finish will show some honest character unless you baby it with touch-up. Bottom line, if you're looking for a casual plinking, there are cheaper options. But if you want a pistol you can stake your life on today and pass down in pristine condition to your kids, the P226 is still one of the absolute best ever made. Number 3. The Smith Wesson Model 686, better known to most of us as just the 686 or the legendary L-frame workhorse, is nothing short of an icon in the double-action revolver world. Built by America's oldest and most respected gunmaker, Smith & Wesson, this stainless beauty first rolled out in 1981 as the tougher, corrosion-proof brother to the blued Model 586. It was created specifically to split the difference between the lighter K-frames that could get beat up by constant .357 Magnum diets and the tank-like end frames that were overkill for most people. No big-name partnerships were involved, just decades of in-house Smith & Wesson know-how, constantly refined by real-world input from cops and everyday shooters. This wheel gun was made for a very specific crowd. Die-hard revolver lovers chasing heirloom-grade toughness, precision-driven competition shooters, backcountry hunters who need a trustworthy big-game sidearm, and serious self-defense folks who would rather have 6 or 7 rounds that absolutely, positively go bang than chase magazine capacity. When you look at the actual package, the 686 is pure balance perfection. The most common version with the 4-inch barrel runs 9.25 inches overall, but you can get anything from a snubby 2.5-inch barrel for pocket carry all the way up to an 8.375-inch precision barrel for bullseye work. Height is a compact 5.4 inches with a trim 1.45 inches, so it holsters easy without feeling like a brick on your hip. Unloaded, it tips the scales at about 40.3 ounces, heavy enough to soak up magnum recoil like a champ, yet still totally manageable for long days on the range. It's chambered in .357 Magnum, of course, but happily eats .38 Special for cheap practice, holding 6 rounds in the standard models or 7 in the plus versions. All stainless construction laughs at rust. The double-action pole is a smooth and predictable 10 to 12 pounds that stacks cleanly into a glassy 3 to 4 pound single-action brake, and the whole thing is tuned tight enough to stack sub 2-inch groups at 25 yards all day long. What really pushes the 686 in a legendary status are the smart engineering touches most people never notice until they put a few thousand magnums through one. That famous L-frame reinforces the crane and yoke, so the gun never stretches or goes out of time no matter how hard you feed it. Something lighter frames just can't survive. You still get a low-bore axis for fast, flat shooting, a full-length underlug in rubber, or wood grips that make full-house .357 loads feel almost pleasant, and every part is polished stainless that shrugs off sweat, salt water, or humidity. There's no external safety to fiddle with, just the classic revolver simplicity backed by modern internal hammer block drop safety. Up front, you've got the classic Patridge ramp with a fully adjustable rear sight, and performance center models will come with fiber optics if you want them. Want to customize? Swap grips from soft rubber to fancy stippled walnut. Add threaded barrels for cans. Drop in lighter triggers. Port the barrel. Whatever you want, the aftermarket loves the 686. Right now in 2025, a new Model 686 carries an MSRP between $999 and $1,199 depending on barrel length and finish, which is honestly a bargain when you realize you're getting factory refinements like chamfered charge holes and a buttery action that custom shops charge extra for. It smokes ultra-premium single actions from Freedom Arms on price while still out shooting most of them. And when you stack it against the Ruger GP100 that usually streets for around $900, the Smith pulls ahead with silkier triggers and way more factory options without jacking up the cost. The proof is in the sales racks. They fly off the shelves in places like Houston for ranch and truck guns, Miami because nothing rusts down there, and Phoenix where IDPA and Revolver Division guys can't keep them in stock. Year after year, the 686 days near the very top of Smith & Wesson's best-selling revolver list, and for damn good reason. Number 2. The Glock 17, the one that started it all, the original plastic fantastic, the gun everybody just calls the G17, came screaming out of Austria in 1982 when a guy who made curtain rods named Gaston Glock decided to answer the Austrian army's request for a brand new, lightweight, high-capacity combat pistol. Zero firearms experience, zero problem, because what he delivered completely rewrote the rulebook and turned into the gold standard for every striker-fired handgun that's come since. Yeah, he worked with polymer wizards and ran it past military testers, but when the smoke cleared, it was pure Glock, a revolutionary 9mm service pistol built for cops, soldiers, competition shooters, and any armed citizen who wants something that just flat-out works. Size-wise, the G17 is 8.03 inches long with a 4.49-inch cold hammer forged barrel, 5.47 inches tall, and a super slim 1.26 inches across the slide. Unloaded without a mag, it's an insanely light 22.04 ounces. Jumps to 25.06 ounces with an empty 17-rounder in the well, and hits 32.12 ounces ready to rock with 17 plus 1 on board. Sight radius is the same 4.49 inches as the barrel length, and it ships with basic polymer sights, although most models these days come with steel or factory night sights already installed. Bottom line, it's light enough to carry from sunrise to sunset, but still has enough mass to eat 9mm recoil for breakfast and keep you on target past 25 yards all day long. The heart of the beast is the famous safe action system. One consistent 5.4-pound trigger pull every single time, backed up by firing pin safety, drop safety, and trigger dingus, so there's no manual safety to forget, yet it still won't go off if you drop it off a rooftop. Gen 5 versions throw in the marksman barrel with tighter polygonal rifling, ambidextrous slide stop, flared magwell for lightning reloads, and that bomb-proof NDLC coating that laughs at rust. The frame is Glock's own nylon-based polymer too, with steel reinforcement where it counts, aggressive Gen 4 or Gen 5 texturing that locks into wet or gloved hands, a Picatinny rail up front for lights and lasers, and swappable backstraps, so it fits tiny hands or gorilla mitts perfectly. Aftermarket world? It's ridiculous slides, barrels, connectors, mags, frames, everything drops in from 100 different companies, no gunsmith required. Street price in 2025 still sits right around $550 to $600 for a standard MOS or front serration model, which absolutely embarrasses metal frame classics like the SIG P226 and Beretta 92 FS on both price and capacity while matching or beating them on reliability. Walk into any big shop in Dallas, Phoenix, Atlanta, or Tampa, and the G17 is flying off the shelf faster than anything else in the full-size duty category, usually bundled with 3 mags and night sight straight from the factory. From the NYPD to FBI hostage rescue team, agencies are still buying them by the thousands. Proof you're getting Tier 1 performance at blue-collar money. Of course, nothing's perfect. The grip angle feels weird if you grew up on 1911s or CZs until your hands learn the new normal. The factory trigger has a little take-up and creep. Plus P ammo can still get snappy even with the low-bore axis. The plastic sights are the first thing serious shooters swap out, and smaller folks can get tired after a few hundred rounds even though it's the lightest gun on this list. Some old leather holsters also need a tiny bit of tweaking to clear the Gen 5 magwell flare. But when you boil it all down, the Glock 17 is minimalist genius wrapped in battlefield-proven toughness and priced, so any working stiff can afford it. Light, stupidly high capacity, endless part support, and it's been the default duty pistol on belts around the planet for 40 straight years. Because game-changing performance doesn't have to come with a game-changing price tag. Number 1. The 1911 John Moses Browning's immortal masterpiece, the gun the world simply calls the 1911 or the Colt government model. Born from the genius mind of Browning and brought to life by Colt's patent firearms back in 1911, this pistol smoked every European contender in the U.S. Army trials and became the official sidearm of American soldiers who needed a handgun that would never quit when the chips were down. More than 114 years later, it's still worshipped by collectors, die-hard enthusiasts, USPSA and IDPA national champions, grizzled law enforcement veterans, and anybody who believes real pistols are made of forged steel and soul. A classic government-sized 1911 stretches 8.5 inches overall with that legendary 5-inch barrel, stands 5.5 inches tall, and keeps a razor-thin 1.3 inches across the slide. All steel models tip the scales at right around 39 ounces empty, giving you a super low-bore axis that keeps the muzzle flat and that heavy frame that turns .45 ACP recoil into a gentle push you could drive all day. The short, single-action trigger breaks like a glass rod between 3.5 and 5 pounds. And you've got both a grip safety and a frame-mounted thumb safety that add real security without slowing down a trained draw one bit. The beating heart is that famous swinging link lockup that locks the barrel and slide together like a bank vault for insane accuracy. A flat mainspring housing that puts your hand in the exact same spot every time, and a proper beaver tail grip safety, so you can ride high without getting hammer bite. Frames and slides are machined from forged carbon or stainless steel and finished in deep bluing, military parkerizing, or modern Cerakote that shrugs off rust. Modern versions throw in skeletonized triggers, fully adjustable sights, extended ambidextrous thumb safeties, and even dust cover rails. But the platform's real magic is how modular it is. Drop-in match barrels, hand checker walnut, or G10 grips. You name it, somebody builds it. Brand new mil-spec examples from Springfield Armory or the Colt Classic Series start right around $800, while hand-fitted masterpieces from Wilson Combat, Nighthawk Custom, or Dan Wesson easily clear $3,000 and up. Even at the entry price, you're getting match-grade accuracy and generational durability that most polymer Wonder 9s, costing twice as much, can only dream about. These guns dominate shelves and safes in places like Houston and Dallas, the Tampa-Miami corridor, Phoenix, and free state havens like Boise and Nashville, where old-school American iron still carries serious street cred. Of course, it's not perfect. Flush-fit single-stack magazines only give you 7 or 8 rounds of big bore .45, which looks tiny next to 17-round 9mm. That 39 ounces of steel feels glorious on the range, but gets heavy after a full day on the belt. Single action only means you better keep that thumb on the safety and your finger off the trigger until it's time to rock. And loose mil-spec guns can be picky with hollow points until a competent smith polishes the feed ramp and throating. But when you stack it all up, the 1911 delivers the finest trigger on the planet, battle-proven history from below, wood to Fallujah, and customization potential that's still unmatched. For shooters who care more about precision, heritage, and pure shooting joy than raw round count, John Browning's 1911 remains the undisputed king of handguns, a living legend that every new design is secretly trying to beat, and almost none ever do. So there they are, 7 pistols that don't care about next year's catalog because they were built to outlive the catalog itself. One's a plastic miracle, 2 are revolvers that laugh at recoil, and 4 are steel classics that define duty and defense. Your call comes down to what you value: raw toughness, heirloom vibes, round count, or that perfect trigger press. Drop a comment and tell me which one you'd bet your grandkids' inheritance on. Smash the like button if we earned it, and subscribe so we can keep digging into gear that lasts. Stay safe out there, train hard, and we'll catch you on the next one.